I'd like to preface this by saying this is a school project. Am I worried that this is going up on my main channel? No. This is something that everybody needs to know about me and I feel is extremely important. And I post mediocre edits and songs sometimes. I'm not worried about people seeing that. It's a public channel. Also, a disclaimer is a lot of what I'm going to say is that's opinionated, is exaggerated for the purpose of humor. I think what I'm saying is funny, so that's why I'm doing this project to begin with. If you like the work of this guy that I'm going to be talking about, that's fine, even though you're wrong. I'm not going to hate you. It's fine. You like bad poetry. It's okay. However, anyway, I'm here to talk about the poet with one of the most remarkable careers of any English poet, John Keats. Keats was born on October 31st in 1795. Wait, I share a birth month with this guy? Are you kidding me? Whatever. And he died 25 years later of tuberculosis. He's also in love with a girl named Fanny, and they never got married because of his tuberculosis. More on that later. During his time, Keats wasn't regarded as that great of a poet by anyone, and some reviewed his work as the work of an upstart, vulgar, cockney poet, or in other words, trash. His first piece of works were published in 1817 after some inspirational help by these poets that I don't feel like trying to pronounce their names. It was simply titled Poems by John Keats, and it only went downhill from there. In a letter from Keats to John Taylor, dated February 27, 1818, Keats states, "First, I think poetry should surprise by a fine excess, and not by singularity. It should strike the reader as wording of his own highest thoughts. That if poetry does not come naturally as the leaves to a tree, it better not come at all." One of the main themes that Keats keeps referencing throughout many of his poems can best be highlighted from one of his poems called Ode on a Grecian Urn. It reads as, "Beauty is truth, truth beauty, and that is all ye know on earth, and all ye need to know." I think that this is one of the only good messages that he states. Poets of the Romantic era often want to relate this idea that nature has an innate relationship to beauty throughout all of their poems because they're romantic. I'll use this section of the video to talk about one of the only poems of Keats that I enjoyed, which is Ode on a Grecian Urn. Go figure. This poem is one of the only poems where he doesn't talk about himself, his love life, and how extremely sad and whiny he is. Specifically, it is about the art depicted on the urn, the different scenes that are on it, and the beauty in the fact that the urn will outlast the narrator's life, the reader's life, and many, many more humans. It is essentially about the beauty in art, in nature, in truth, in beauty, etc. This is shown in lines 44 to 47, where it states, "Thou silent form dost tease us out of thought, as doth eternity cold pastoral. When old age shall this generation waste, thou shalt remain." And he's talking about the pot. The urn. He's talking about the urn. Now that I've covered the requirements of this assignment, I can give a little context as to why I hate John Keats. Because I was in the IB program, I had the same English teacher for my last 2 years of high school. And I don't blame that English teacher for any of this. He was just teaching his students about a poet that fit within the curriculum that he really enjoyed. That's fine. However, junior year, we read about all of Keats' odes, as well as a few outliers. So we read a lot of Keats. And senior year was full of reviews, so we could recite anything we needed to on the end of year exams accurately. 2 years. 2 years of reading about how sad, whiny, lovesick, and physically sick John Keats was. And English teacher, I know you're watching this because I sent you the link to this. I might get some of the information in this wrong. It's been a few months since I've studied a lot of Keats, and I know that you know that I know that you know that I know that this is all a joke. Don't be mad at me. Ode to Apollo is fine. It's about all the people he looks up to in literature. If Ode to a Grecian Urn is A tier, then to Apollo is B tier. Ode to Fanny, if you haven't realized by now, Fanny is the love interest in Keats' life, and this one is about her. I don't need to quote this one, it's just he says she's really beautiful and he's super obsessed with her. Oh, to Psyche is a love story, and to Autumn is about how nature is beautiful. They're fine, C tier. I'm not even gonna bother to say this title because I don't want to mispronounce it, but it's right there. A Ballad. This poem has 3 characters, a passerby traveler, a knight, and a fairy. The traveler sees the knight and asks, "Oh, what can ail thee, knight at arms, alone and palely loitering," in lines 1 to 2. The knight replies in lines 13 to 20. For brevity, I'll only recite the important parts. "I met a lady in the meads, full beautiful, a faery's child." Skip a few. "She looked at me as she did love, and made sweet moan." Then he has a dream after passing out because the fairy seduced him, obviously, about the royals and warriors that he's supposed to protect, describing them as death pale were they all. And now he's on the hillside shocked that he got played. The poem is about the struggle between pleasure and pain, something that whoop-de-doo, our buddy boy John Keats knows oh so much about. Ode on Melancholy. The title is almost literally I'm Sad, and is about lovers' melancholy and joy. Melancholy ends up dying in line 21. She dwells with beauty, beauty that must die. And joy is sad in lines 29 to 30. His son shall taste the sadness of her might, and be among her cloudy trophies hung. Sound familiar, Mr. I'm dying, and don't tell Fanny about how much I love her, and I end up dying before I tell her, and now Fanny is sad? Ode on Indolence is about all 4. Lines 10 to 14, they faded and forsoth. I wanted wings, oh folly, what is love and where is it? And for that poor ambition, it springs, for poesy, no, she has not a joy. And the argument can be made that these are things that he overcame because in the end it's revealed that he was dreaming the entire time, but he still whines about it. Ode to a Nightingale. Oh my God. Lines 1 to 2. My heart aches, and a drowsy numbness pains my sense. This one is about the narrator talking to a nightingale and venting about their problems. I have to mention that because the bird is important for this next quote. Lines 51 to 53. Darkling, the bird, I listen, and for many a time I have been half in love with easeful death, called him soft names in many mused rhyme. The rest of the stanza is about the speaker wanting to die. He calls the bird immortal, says he's sad some more, and then can't tell if he's awake or sleeping when the bird leaves. Come on, man. I'll leave you with this. The single greatest piece of literature that John Keats has created that almost redeems him for the pain that he's put me through. And I'll read it to you in its entirety. Give me women, wine, and snuff, until I cry out, hold, enough. And you may do so sans objection, till the day of resurrection. And bless my beard, they I shall be, my beloved Trinity. John Keats, written somewhere between 1815 and 1816. S tier. Got some good cuts from that. Do I look good? Look fine. Lovesick and physically sick he actually is. Love, what is it? Line. Because I was in the IB program I should probably close that window. Because I was in the IB program for the last 2 years, I had the same teacher. Ode on Melancholy. No. Pause. His son shall taste the sadness of her might and be among her cloudy... What? All 3 hats up here, like the Five Nights at Freddy's. Freddy Five Nights. Can you even see this?